Good afternoon. I am Dr. Kumar PK, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, VTU, Post-Graduation Center, Mysore. Today, we discuss fundamentals of computers. Fundamentals of computers. As per this, what is the objective of this course is basically we need to develop the fundamental understanding of the computer terminology and its concepts. Basically, whatever the fundamentals of computer concepts are there, we will try to understand all those concepts. And also we need to understand the different hardware components such as CPU, memory, storage devices and other peripheral devices. Very basic concepts we will try to understand in this particular module. And agenda of this course is, first let us discuss the introduction and then the characteristics of the computer. If you take any computer, what are the different characteristics that we will discuss with respect to the computers, and also the classification of the digital computer systems. Basically, there are different ways we can classify the systems. With respect to the digital computers, how exactly we need to classify, that we will cover here. And also the anatomy of the computer. It is very essential, being a beginner of the computers, we need to know the anatomy of the computer, that we will try to discuss in this section. And also the core part of the computer is how exactly the CPU works, and also the memory, how exactly it will take the input and it will store and how it will process, how basically how memory works. And also the way the program executes, program is nothing but the set of instructions, how exactly it executes. With an example we will try to understand, and then we will try to understand the introduction of microcontrollers. These are the agendas points in this particular course. We will try to discuss one by one. First, let us understand what exactly the computer is. Because first, before getting to the functionality, we will try to understand the definition of the computers. So, a computer is an electronic machine that takes input from the user, processes the given input and generates the output in the form of useful information. What exactly it means? So, an electronic device, basically what it expects, if it the machine wants to perform something or process something, user has to give something. User means the computer, whoever is using the computer, he is providing some data in the form of input, and then the computer will take that input and it will try to process it, and then based on that processing result, it will generate the output in the form of useful information. That means, see, initially it is a raw data. Based on that raw data, it will just try to perform nothing but the process something, and then it will give the useful information. Suppose I will give you an example here. A user wants to add two numbers. So, assume here the data is two numbers, any two numbers. Here for example, I will take 10 and 20. So, the input from the user is 10 and 20, user has to provide that. So, that will process by the given input 10 and 20 will be the input data, and it is addition. Addition means here we need to use an operator. I think going forward we will discuss the different operators and all those things, but right now the just very outline, 10 and 20 is the input, plus it is an arithmetic addition operator. It is trying to process 10 plus 20 and then it will generate the output after combining, adding 10 plus 20, and it will give the output as 30. That is called useful information. So, this is how we can define a computer is. So, next point, a computer accepts input in different forms such as data, programs and user reply. So, I think with respect to this point, so and also the first point, see, electronic machine, calculator is also an electronic device, but it also takes the input in the form of data 2 and 3, and again it will just calculate and it will give the 5. But can we say as a calculator as a computer? No, because calculator it will take the input in the form of only the digits, but here we are talking, see, computer accepts the input in different forms. This is very important, different forms, maybe the numbers, maybe alphabets, based on your requirement, anything, any form of data. Suppose I want to play a movie. So now here the input is different. I want to log into some application. Here again input is different. So based on the scenarios, everything, every time the form of the different forms of the data will change. And also an user reply. Suppose I will give you a simple example. I just log into my email server. So I will provide the username, that is in the form of text, and again with respect to that username there is a password. And now user has to give another input to get into the home page. So the input here is in the form of what is that, user reply. We need to click on that sign in button, or we call it as login. So login is an input to that application. So again it will go to the user, will end up in the or landed in the home page. That is also a form of input. So the output here is user will be landed in the home page. So overall what we can say, so it will take the input, process it based on the input, and then it will give the useful information in the form of output. That we call it as a computer. Now first again, so in the previous slide we discussed about input in the form of data. Now we will try to understand what exactly the data is. Data is nothing but it refers to the raw details that need to be processed to generate some useful information. Raw data, it might be anything, as we discussed, it might be a number, or it may be a username, or it may be a password, right. So any form of data, if it is a song, audio clip, then we need to send which audio clip I need to play and which movie I need to play. So it's all based on the input. These are all the raw data. So based on that raw data, it will generate the first process and then generate the useful information. What is useful information? If it is a number, whatever the operation, if I say arithmetic operation, it will process and it will give that respective result. If it is in the form of user credentials, it will take the user credential as an input and it will process and it will give the output as a user should be in the home page. Similarly, if my request is I am searching something, yes, what is your query? That itself is a input for your search engine, and it will process and it will return the appropriate result. So this is called raw data and necessary processing part, and then the useful information. Next, we will try to understand what exactly the program is. Any computer, if we talk, it is a two important component, programs, or in broader way we can generally what we can say software and hardware. So hardware basically what we can do, whichever we can touch or feel, that we call it as an hardware components. Maybe generally what we classify as CPU, keyboard, printer. But so all the hardware components has to work only the proper or the respective set of instruction has to be there in the system. So now we will try to understand what are those instructions. Instructions are nothing but the programs, right. So basically program refers to the set of instructions, what exactly I need to perform, the instructions I need to give to the respective compiler or an interpreter, or by using the appropriate programming language that can be executed by the computer in a sequential or non-sequential manner. So whatever the instructions we will give, that will be executed either in the form of sequential or non-sequential manner. Then what do you mean by sequential? It is a sequential order, one after the other. Maybe just if I take an example, chapters, first chapter, after that second chapter, third chapter, it is like page by page, sequential, one after the other. So maybe in that mode, or it may be a non-sequential, there is no order at all, there is no sequence at all, randomly it can just you are just sending the, or it will execute the instructions. So that way your programs will be executed by the computer. So, that is all about very brief introduction about the computers. Now, we will get into the characteristics. It is very important component. What are the different characteristics of the computer? So, this is just it is a broader we can outline here. First one is a speed, accuracy, diligence, versatility, reliability, automation and memory. Speed. When we talk about the speed, a computer can work so with higher speed. So, always very quickly whatever the instructions you pass, it will be processed very quickly with accurate results. When you compare it to the normal human being, how exactly he performs the mathematical calculations, with respect to that the computer can perform thousands of instructions very quickly and with accurately. That is very important. Speed is one thing, accuracy is also another important term which is which is associated with the speed, right. So, it is a quick millions of instructions it will be processed per second. That is one of the major characteristics if you talk about the characteristics of the computer. Next, another one is accuracy. So, always whatever the instructions you give to the computer, it will perform all those computations or the calculations with 100% accuracy. This accuracy is completely depending upon the data which you provide. If I am giving the improper data or the wrong data, maybe yes, your accuracy is not good, because I am just giving data is not proper one. So, always your accuracy is depending upon the data which you provide, right. So, that is another important characteristics of the computer. Next, diligence. So, that means a computer, obviously what we have discussed in the speed and the accuracy, a computer can perform the millions of instructions very quickly and accurately, right. So, the diligence, what is talking about the diligence? It is the same consistency, same accuracy will be there even continuously, even just that means. So, after 1 hour, yes, computer feels tired, okay, after one, because I just processed so many instructions in 1 hour, now I just I am feeling tired. No, there is no such fatigue with respect to the computer. Even now when you switch on the system, even maybe after 10 hours, the same speed, the same accuracy will be there. That is another important characteristics of the computer. Next, another important characteristics is versatility. What exactly versatility means? So, that means computer can process, or it's in its ability, computer ability is to perform the different kinds of tasks with the same accuracy and the same speed, or maybe we can say the efficiency. Suppose I want to just type something in some of the word processor tools, yes, it will process in the same speed, and now at the same time I will just I want to play a song, audio clip or video clip, anything. So, even I want to take a print of document, or I want to just play a game, whatever the applications or whatever the task it may be, it will be processed in the same speed and with the same efficiency. Whether it may be, if you talk about the arithmetic operations, yes, addition also it will give the same speed, even if it is a division or whatever the logarithmic calculations. If you take any calculation or any task, it will be processed in the same speed and with the same efficiency. That is another important characteristics of this computer. Next, reliability is very much important, because whatever we do, whatever we try to process, reliability is very important. If it processes very quickly, when we are talking about accuracy, obviously if it is accurate, then we can rely on that result. So, consistently it will process the same task with the same speed, with the same or similar set of data. Suppose I am just, what exactly the similar set of data? Now I am just adding two numbers, 2 plus 3 5, or maybe 10 plus 5 15. Whatever the data, same set of data, even if you keep sending the same data even 100 times, 1000 times also, or n number of times, it will not change the result. It's continuously, it will work with the same speed, with the same efficiency, with the same result. So that's how you can rely on your the computer. That means whatever you process, you can rely, or whatever the input you give to the computer, it will process the same input data in a quicker manner with efficient and with the reliable one. So that is another important characteristics. Next, another one is automation. The purpose of using the computer itself is an automation, right? So basically whatever the task you want to do, a computer will perform all the tasks automatically. So maybe whatever the task, it performs the tasks without manual intervention, no need of any manual intervention. So it's a continuously, most of the for that we need to write a separate set of instructions. So basically this computer will handle the all the tasks automatically, no need of any manual intervention here. And another important characteristics is memory. So without memory, yes, of course it won't process anything, because first whenever you want to send the data, so that it receives the data and it somewhere it has to accommodate that particular data. If computer wants to accommodate that, definitely it needs some space. That's nothing but the memory. In detail what exactly the memory part, or internal external memory, that we'll discuss in detail in the coming classes. But right now we'll just in the broader way, computer has a memory. Always it has two components, built in and another one is the secondary. Built in means which is already associated with the computer, we also call it as a primary memory, and another one is secondary storage or memory. So the some externally we can just plug into the system and we can store or we can just keep the copy of the data into the secondary storage devices. Most probably nowadays we use pen drives, CDs, DVDs, all these are secondary storage devices, basically which these devices which we are using to store the data. These are the very important characteristics of the computers. The same just explanation as given here. Speed, I have just very quickly rapid processing of the data and instructions here, and then the accuracy, it's very important. There is no error rate at all. Even we have used the term low error rate, it's completely depends on the data which you provide. So if your data is not right, then of course the whatever the data you will give, based on that it will respond. If your data is right, then definitely there is no error at all, 100% accuracy will be there. And storage, just now we discussed, it will basically to store and retrieve vast amount of data. Store, whenever someone sends the data, I need to store that data. After storing, I need to retrieve. Whenever the user, I need to send back the result to the user, that time I need to retrieve the vast amount of data from the database, or it may be from external sources. So basically it will store and retrieve the data. And next, elegance, already I told you, even though it's a continuous process, also there is no degradation in the performance with respect to the consistency. And versatility, its ability to perform various tasks with the same hardware. Even by using the same hardware, you can perform different tasks. So thank you.